everybody. Welcome to the M&M Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Sega Seth.
It's me, Brody.
It's me, Brandon. Hi.
So, we are doing the wonderful topic today, of Disney movies. Yay. For all of you Disney fans out there, all of the world. Right? Yes, so the thing is that Doug Walker every year does Disney-cember, which is essentially the same thing as Monster Madness, but for the month of December he goes through a different Disney. Well, at this point he's done everything, so now for the last few years it's just been little odds and ends, like things that have come out since he started it.
He only did Angels in the Outfield.
Yeah, he just does random stuff like that. So I figured, I figured,
I like it.
I don't really like that movie, but I used to watch that movie all the time.
Everyone loves Disney movies.
Yeah,
everyone loves a Disney movie.
That's what Doug said in his first Disney-cember. He's like, you want to act cynical, but everybody loves a Disney movie.
Yes.
And it does kind of go hand in hand with Christmas. It makes you feel all, nostalgic and warm and happy, and takes you back to your childhood. I actually am more of a Warner Brothers guy overall. As you'll find out, my favorite movie of all time is a Disney product, but it is one of the many things that Disney has just seized up over the years. I am friends with a lot of Disney fanatics. Mm-hmm. I studied animation in school, in college, and I was there. I pissed everyone off when I said I liked Looney Tunes more than I liked anything related to Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
Well, Seth's actually a Disney adult, and he wakes up and goes to bed with Mickey Mouse ears on.
That's Eric with the Joey's World Tour.
Yeah. That's fair. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to put a picture of that guy on with his
Joey's World Tour.
I'm big. I ain't no Joey's World Tour. Yeah, off the top of your guys' head, what is your earliest memory of watching something Disney?
Shit, I can...
Probably Lion King.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Way back when. Lion King, Tarzan was an early one for me.
Toy Story was an early one for me,
Toy Story, definitely.
Yeah, and we will all talk about these movies more in depth, but, for me...
Monsters, Inc. was a big one, too.
I saw that in theaters for my birthday.
Nice.
I actually remember when I saw it in theaters at Regal for my birthday. Austin's birthday is 5 days before mine. We went there, and I remember our neighbor saying, I know what he got you for his birthday, and he got you for your birthday, and Austin was, really mad about it. But did you guys ever watch Disney Afternoon? Like, the cartoon, the anime?
Not, religiously, but I would catch it here and there.
I would even hop around to Disney XD and stuff like that.
Kit
Patowski was.
Did you know that Kit Patowski did the episode? Funny that I said I'm beak like that. The South Park episode with Kyle's cousin, Kit Patowski, Suburban Daredevil, did that same concept of that episode on that show, and the character's name was still Kyle in that episode. Apparently, I learned about that through LS Mark. I know nothing about that show. The only thing with Disney XD that I know is they would play reruns of Batman and X-Men.
Yeah.
And I would watch Phineas and Ferb on there, Gravity Falls, Star vs. the Forces of Evil, a couple other shows, but for a while, Disney XD was all I cared about with Disney, and I stopped watching Disney Channel in probably 2006.
All right, but Hannah Montana.
That was kind of the cutoff for me. I watched that show,
Show's a banger. I don't care.
I had a huge crush on Miley Cyrus, so
I still do.
Yeah, I think she's still cute.
I hope she puts the wig back on and goes on tour. The best of both.
She would make a lot of money doing that.
She would get my money.
Yeah, she would make a lot of money doing that right now. But yeah, lovely. I'm gonna look forward to editing that.
Yeah.
I feel like I say that. That's my catchphrase.
Yeah.
I grew up loving DuckTales. DuckTales is one of my favorites.
I didn't discover DuckTales till later on, but that was pretty good. That was a good show.
My sister and I would watch
Goof
that.
Troop was another good
Goof
one,
Troop, DuckTales, Tailspin, House of Mouse, Pepper Ann, like I said, Darkwing Duck. I mean, I love those shows. And then eventually, like I said, Phineas and Ferb, Gravity Falls.
Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
Murphy's.
That was a good show.
I think it's called Murphy's Law or Milo and Murphy or something like that. But it's the guy who created Phineas and Ferb's other show. That's pretty good.
Why don't we sit in the car, listen to the radio? Do you like M
or food? But yeah, so wanted to just get into the.
Yeah.
We don't really have too much.
I mean, anything happened this week? There's Ring of Honor Final Battle.
Yeah.
I mean,
I didn't really watch too much wrestling this week.
No,
neither did I.
I tried to watch Final Battle. I ordered it. And I fell
CM
asleep.
Punk got signed to Raw.
Yeah,
that's pretty much it.
Well, it's gonna end up being Punk and Rollins, I expect.
Rollins came out, cut a fire promo.
That was awesome. That was all them too. Apparently. Really?
Apparently, there was no producers credited for it.
Well, yeah, that's two of the best that could go.
Oh, I mean, come on.
And the fact that also Rollins legit never liked Punk, but the fact that he's professional enough to turn this into a really good storyline says a lot about him.
Oh, well, yeah, even him and Riddle didn't like each other back then. Before him and Riddle didn't like each other, and they were able to.
Well, and him and Owens have some tension.
Yeah.
Because of stupid shit, but I'm looking forward to CM Punk and Reigns having some interactions.
I'm saying it right now. Night 1 of Mania is going to be Punk and Rollins. That's
going
to be the main event.
It's either going to be Punk or Cody who wins the Rumble.
Yes.
I don't think it'll be Cody.
You don't think so?
I don't think it'll be Cody. I think it's going to be CM Punk.
Yeah.
Because unless they're going to do a whole Daniel Bryan Yes Movement type deal where they have the fans behind CM Punk, but they don't really have to do that. I mean, they didn't really have to do it with Bryan, but
finish the story though.
CM Punk, it's the 10-year anniversary of him leaving the company at the Royal Rumble, the night after the Rumble. You can't script this better. And so, I mean, you might as well script it perfectly and have him... you can't script it better in the sense of, timing, but, now you have the opportunity to script it well with the timing.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. It's
an interesting thing because I do... genuinely think that Punk has a good chance at winning, but at the same time, these Rhodes and Reigns thing has been on a slow build, kind of for a year. They had their match last year. Yeah. Obviously, they had to go their separate ways. Yeah. But throughout all this year, he's still had problems with the bloodline, occasionally. So it wouldn't surprise me. It's been a long time since someone won Rumbles back to back. If they were going to do it with someone,
who was the last person to win the Rumble back to back?
Was it Stone Cold?
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah. So
shit, who was the last person to win a Rumble within 5 years back to back like that? Even between John Cena, I mean, it was 2008 and 2013. I mean, that's 5 years. That's the closest I can think of somebody having consecutive wins since Stone Cold that had them.
Yeah, if they were gonna do it with anybody, it wouldn't surprise me to be Rhodes for him to do that again and then do the big build up because I imagine they're gonna do something. Punk's going to find another way in, whether that's whatever pay-per-view is between Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. Is it Elimination Chamber still?
Yeah.
I don't think they'd put him in the Chamber match, but...
That'd be cool. I love Punk and Chamber. Punk and Chamber matches
but
go hand
he's
in
old
hand.
and a little injury-prone, so let's make sure he's safe at least until they're sure he can...
Well, you can say a lot about Punk, but he's a safe worker. So, and he's very particular with who he's worked with. Now that Ryback's blacklisted from the industry.
Hey,
he's probably going to listen to this podcast and beat me up. But
he's gonna put out a poll whether to retire or beat Seth from the M&M podcast.
Shell shock Seth.
If I'm at work and he just comes in and gives me a shell shock on a pallet,
wake up! Imagine you're just in the back of the store and all you hear is feed me, and it's him sprinting down the aisle at you. and meat hooks the shit out of you. Meat hook clothesline.
Brody, you just see James like clothesline.
Yo, if James just like stops and like clotheslines him, dude, I'd piss myself.
I would say, hey, he goes up to James and he's like, who's Seth Bud?
Yeah.
James goes, it's him.
Yeah.
He points at Raymond.
Yeah.
He just picks Raymond up in the shell shot.
No.
Or he goes, I'm looking for a bald guy with some facial hair. And he goes and talks to Daniel, and he's like, you want to talk shit about me on my podcast?
Yeah.
Daniel's like, I don't even know who you are.
I don't know who you are. Who are you?
And then he's just eating a bag of chips.
Aren't you He's like, aren't you a bald guy that likes Sonic? Yeah. Let's see, it's gonna be you.
And then afterwards, he's gonna sit at the OSL counter and eat a bag of chips.
I could see Tyson liking you.
Yeah.
He'd go up and be like, yo, Ryback.
Yo, Ryback.
What's good?
What's up, man?
I'm here to kill Seth. For sure. For sure. All right, so we're going to get down to it today.
The nitty-gritty in the Music City.
Nitty-gritty. Little news for me as I pull up the chart for me. The Ninja Turtles got added to Fortnite. And a lot of people have been asking me what I think of that for some reason. I'm very excited. I bought the skin, and
Not the Raph one.
I bought the Donatello one.
All
So
right, well, that's not
there you go. All who's been asking me about that. So this is my list. I did my honorable mentions are Alice in Wonderland, Peter Pan, The Incredibles, Goofy movie, and I then my main ones are Tarzan, Wreck-It Ralph, The Nightmare Before Christmas, Lilo and Stitch, and Toy Story. And I have all the other Toy Stories on here because it could be I love all of them.
So,
I'd say 2 is my strongest.
wait a
Two
minute,
and
wait a minute.
one.
No, 1 and 2
Hold
are.
on.
What?
Is it Disney or Disney Pixar?
It's both of them.
Yeah.
So you can do a
Okay.
substitution.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Go ahead, Brody. Take your time. We can.
Yeah. I can bullshit with the
Okay.
ones I have and the ones that I know me and Vale will have too. But
Well,
I also wanted to specifically kind of diversify. It would be real easy to have nothing but Renaissance. Do you know what Renaissance and post-Renaissance
Yeah.
Disney is?
Yeah.
From Little Mermaid
Yeah.
to some people say Tarzan, some people say Atlantis. So I wanted to diversify it. I also didn't want all that were going to be, classic Cinderella, Peter Pan, Alice Wonderland type deal. So I tried to make it as diverse as possible. There are 2 movies that I didn't put on here that I would have really liked to have talked about. One of them being Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which is in my top 20 favorite movies of all time. I didn't know if it would count.
I keep that is a Disney property.
Yeah, I didn't know,
forgetting it is.
but because
in the discussion we had.
yeah. So I do love that movie, and if it was on here, it would be right next to Toy Story. And the other one was DuckTales. The DuckTales movie, Search for the Hidden Lamp or something like that.
Yeah.
I watched a little bit of it, but I really want to watch the full movie because I remember really loving it as a kid, and I went back and watched some clips earlier today. And I can't think of the full name off the top of my head, but I didn't have time to go back and watch Treasure of the Hidden Lamp. Okay, so I didn't have enough time to go back and watch the movie to give my full opinion on it, but I did. Those are 2 that I really wanted to talk about. Maybe I will at some point. But yeah, go ahead and do your...
Yeah, we'll run. Birdie, are you almost done? Are you looking?
Yeah,
Go for it. Yeah, I'll go through. Yeah, I still got
last.
it. So I got some honorable mentions. I got Monsters Inc. for honorable. I've got Hercules. I really love Hercules. Danny DeVito. It's a great movie.
I thought that would be on yours.
Yeah.
Right.
Fuck you.
What?
Lilo and Stitch is another one. I've always loved that movie. And Big Hero 6 is my last honorable mention. That movie's really good.
Yeah, that movie is really good.
It's got hella feels. One of the most feelsy Disney movies in the most recent years. Yeah. Yeah. And then we go into the top 5. It would be Incredibles, obviously. Toy Story being number 4. 3 being Wreck-It Ralph. That movie is
really.
fantastic.
I was surprised.
2 being Tarzan, 1 being Lion King. Like, you can't.
I knew Lion King would be on both your lists. I like that movie. I just don't.
He says
love
Goofy movie's
it.
better than Lion King.
I didn't say it was better.
You
I said I
also,
like Goofy movie more.
Didn't you say like
My
your
sister.
your
It was my
just
sister
watched
and
it
my
constantly?
sister and brother would end and they would rewind it,
Yeah,
and I would
that's
be like,
understandable.
Oh, you mean like Scott Pilgrim versus the World? Seth?
absolutely, and like that's probably why they don't like Toy Story. Like I'm sure they do, but like I'm sure that's why they don't. A lot of people probably don't like Toy Story as much as they should because of me. But again, at least as an adult, if I'm rewinding a movie, you guys could be like, all right. I'm out. I'm leaving.
Yeah.
But as a kid, when I'm stuck there, and it is a really good movie. I think it is a really, really good movie, and I enjoy watching it whenever we do. And I own it. I have it on Blu-ray. It's a good flick. I just don't love it as much as everybody else, and that's okay because I never said a Goofy movie was better. I just like a Goofy movie more.
But Tarzan has the best soundtrack out of everything. No.
Compared to Lion King?
Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
Tarzan's a banger, but
Phil Collins did not have to go that fucking hard. I love Lion King more than Tarzan, but Phil Collins annihilated the
don't
fuck
get me wrong. Like the Tarzan soundtrack is absolutely incredible. Son of Man is like one of my favorite.
That's
Disney
probably my favorite.
One of my favorite Disney songs. But I don't know, man. Lion King, like the thing is with Lion King for me, like it's an amazing balance to have. Like to me, it like really hits for me because to have to have really good songs, like original songs, but also an amazing fucking musical score. At the same time.
Well, Hans Zimmer did the music score.
Yeah.
So, like, don't hit me when I say this.
Oh boy.
But Tarzan, I really love Tarzan. I think it is probably the best soundtrack. But original songs, I think the Nightmare Before Christmas.
That is
It's only got the one real big song though. Yes.
Mr. Oogie Boogie Man.
Two.
In significance, I'm talking about to me like the songs that I like.
Mr. Oogie Boogie Man is my favorite.
The Nightmare Before Christmas is to me. I enjoy that soundtrack more than I like the Lion King one, and I'm sure that everyone's like, about to get their torch and pitchforks at this point. But
torch and pitchforks.
Yeah, I knew you were saying that.
Doesn't that bother you?
I'm not even gonna be a lie. I've got a real emotional attachment because when my dad and me lived in Riverside, my grandma would take me to school when I was going to school in Havre de Grace, and we would listen to the Tarzan cassette tape.
It's all about the car,
dude.
No, I'm not lying because it was like a little 6-year-old me, and we're singing like "You'll Be in My Heart," and it's got a really good emotional attachment.
Yeah. Me and my Aunt Shy, she had the Spider-Man, so I would listen to the Spider-Man theme over and over and over again like that, for that same reason.
Yeah.
But I mean, Tarzan, I love Tarzan, but like I'm just saying that like I also watched Tarzan a lot as a kid. But do you have your list, Brody?
Yes.
Okay.
I do. Oh, almost dropped my phone. Okay. So honorable mentions, I've got 2. I've got Monsters Inc. I had it on VHS. It's one of my favorite animated movies.
Yeah. Honestly, I could have made a whole different Pixar list.
Yeah.
But I had to limit myself. But I do love that movie too.
My other honorable mention is The Jungle Book. I grew up watching that movie a lot.
Lindy's favorite.
Yeah, I love that movie. So number 5, I have Aladdin. I mean,
I love Aladdin.
It's one of my favorite Disney movies. I mean, Robin Williams.
That's why I love that movie.
That's all you have to say.
Good. I'd say another competitor for good soundtrack. I mean, one jump ahead of the bread line. Yeah, like that. Yeah.
Number 4, I have Fantasia. It's
I knew that was gonna be on that for you.
Like, I had it on VHS.
You looked everywhere for that for
a
long
time. That movie for so long on DVD, and I found it at a fucking Goodwill of all places.
I remember you were looking all over the place for that.
But I mean, The Incredibles at number 3.
Yeah.
I think everybody loves that movie. I mean, it's superheroes and Disney.
I'll get into that.
One critic actually said it's like James Bond meets Indiana Jones.
I think Roger Ebert said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 2, and My top twos always go back and forth, but if I had to pick definitively, I would put number 2, Toy Story, and number 1, The Lion King.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, occasionally it will flip back and forth between the two, because I love them both, but I think I fell in love with Lion King first.
Yeah.
Plus, it came out the year I was born, so...
Well, Toy Story, ironically enough, crazy enough, came out almost a year apart from when I was born.
Yeah.
Well, fun fact for you, too. The original Ninja Turtles cartoon was ceased production, but it lived in reruns for like the next 10 years.
Oh, yeah?
2 days before I was born.
No shit.
Yeah, it was just crazy. But, okay. So the ones we have in common. So what? We have Tarzan, Incredibles, Toy Story.
Well, Incredibles was all a little higher on our list, so let's start with that.
Okay, so Incredibles, for those of you who don't know, Brad Bird is was the head animator on that movie and the director. It's who Brad Bird, because I'm the animation nerd, so I'm gonna enlighten you guys. Brad Bird did a lot of animation work in the 90s. He did some stuff with The Simpsons. He had another animated show, Family Dog, and he did The Iron Giant. So he has a cool way. That, to me, that's the first Pixar movie where it looks like it was a drawing before it was 3D. It looks 2D.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's really something special.
When did The Iron Giant come out?
98.
98.
Okay. But 98, 99, that was another one that lived on Cartoon Network, though.
Yeah.
So they would play like marathons of that all the time. But Incredible, so it's about a family. I think specifically with me and you, it's superheroes.
Right.
So of course that's interesting.
Well, and the fun concept, not cut you off real quick, but the fun concept overall of the movie is superheroes are looked down upon.
Yes.
It's
So
a more realistic take on it.
and
At the time.
At the time,
There wasn't too many superhero themed movies that like
looked negative.
that looked negatively
Yeah.
at superheroes.
So that's what I was gonna say. And
Aside
I think
from Spider-Man, but that's always been the case with Spider-Man.
so it takes place, it's these superheroes that are in their past their A-Day, and they're kind of in hiding. You have Mr. Incredible, Elastigirl who becomes Mrs. Incredible, and it just basically shows how they are trying to adjust, almost like a mobster, trying to adjust to a day-to-day.
Basically, the whole thing was like, because it shows their lives when they were superheroes at the beginning of the movie,
right?
But then the government comes up with like I think it's called the superhero relocation program. And it's basically they're saying, the government is saying to these heroes like, hey, if you sign this contract saying that you will never be a superhero again, you will be granted amnesty for
everything that's happened.
Everything that's happened,
and you'll be taken care of.
Whether it be like damages or lives lost, like you won't have to worry about that if you sign this contract.
Yeah. So then it shows just their day-to-day life.
Yeah.
One in that post. It's almost like witness protection program.
Yeah. Like you've got the guy who's super strong and he's working in an office, a tiny little office,
which is some of the coolest visuals because you just see this
gigantic,
and he's sitting at this desk and he's still a superhero in his heart. So this poor old lady's like, "I'm sorry, man.
I know you're upset."
He's like, "You're gonna go right here." He's like, "Write this down." He
Pretend
goes,
like you're crying. You authorized payment on the Walker policy?
Who's helping them out?
Someone broke into their house, Mr. Holmes. Their policy. I don't care about their coverage, Barb. Tell me about their coverage.
And it used to be wild because then that guy, they just sit there and watch that guy get mugged. He's like, that guy's getting mugged.
Well, let's hope we don't cover him. He's getting away. Well, for a minute there, you almost lost your...
Yep.
I remember, because when this came out, of course, I was obsessed with getting the toys. I had to get all the figures, and they had an action figure of him throwing the boss.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I was
cool.
like, that's really funny. But, so then you have, there's, an obsessive fan that tries to basically get revenge by getting his own powers, and there's a lot of really good humor in it.
And also, one of the few movies where the sequel was almost just as good as
Yeah,
the first one.
yeah,
For being like
yeah.
what, 15 years apart.
Yeah.
It's got a plus. It was really relatable with the little blonde kid and the older sister with me. When we were messing around, like when he's running around the table, slapping her or whatever. No force fields. And Dashiell Robert Parr.
Yeah.
But and then when he puts the tack on the teacher's head, it right there.
Right as I'm sitting
This
there.
little worm knows he's guilty.
This little worm is guilty. Guilty as he's guilty.
Bernie, don't Bernie me. Like it's
There's a
funny.
lot of good lines.
There's serious moments. It's a good flick. It's got a good score. I mean, what else is there to say? I mean,
And the video game was fire.
the video game, I
had
actually, boom, baby, right here.
I had it
Got
for,
this bad boy on the PS2.
I had it for Game Boy.
Yeah,
Game
I had
Boy-
it on
the
Game Boy
port
too.
was pretty fun. It got
Yeah.
hard though.
Yeah.
The PS2 one was awesome.
I
played the shit out of that.
I
There was
love
a level.
You see that?
Yeah,
There was a level when you were fucking Dash trying to
You
run
get
to
to
school.
school, yeah.
And you're running down the
Yeah.
highway. And
I rented that a lot. I never owned that, and I own it now. I got it at a toy
We're gonna
show.
have to play through that with Brody. Yeah.
That would
I
be
bet.
fun.
That would
Yeah,
be bad.
the Game Boy one I had too, but that one, like looking back now, I don't think I would enjoy that one too much. That's another thing off the record here. Pixar games, pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, Toy Story 2 on the PS1, fucking amazing. Incredibles, amazing. But anyways, yeah, The Incredibles. I mean, what else more can you say?
Right.
There could be,
Incredibles.
we could do a whole review
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah.
Whole episode on it.
Before we move on to something else, one quick shout out I did want to say because it totally blanked my mind till now. But A Bug's Life is really good,
Look,
and it's very underrated.
I wanted to get to this, but I will just do it now. Pixar's my favorite animation company. Pixar,
They're definitely the best.
I could literally have
They have the
5
They have the best track
lists
Yeah.
on the best Pixar movies.
There's so many, the ones to pick
Oh.
from. Like
Bug's Life,
my dad's favorite's Finding Nemo.
Yep.
Like,
Finding Nemo. You know, you literally could go on
And recent Inside Out.
Inside
Inside
Out.
Inside Out was fantastic.
Inside Out.
Yeah, you know, and Onward. Onward was good too.
When's Inside Out 2 come out?
This
Sometime
next year.
Some next year.
Yep.
I'm last thing on that. It looks like it's gonna be fun because they're gonna integrate stuff like depression
Yeah.
and stuff like that into it. And
Well,
I
the
really
first
think-
one was really good commentary.
Yeah,
on
right.
that.
But it seems like they're gonna add like the hormones of her becoming a teenage.
Turning Red. Turning Red. I really
that's
liked
good.
Turning Red. What is this? Go away. What?
But yeah, okay. So
Okay.
Whoa.
good. What? I'm just making sure we were
Yeah,
still
okay.
recording. So yeah. And
we
then
got Lilo, Stitch, Wreck-It Ralph.
okay, so Tarzan is Tarzan on your list?
Not mine.
No.
No.
Okay, is Lilo and
I
Stitch
still-
on your list?
Nope.
I didn't think so.
I still love it though.
Okay, Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah, let's do
Let's do Wreck-It Ralph.
because I just had. I came in Wreck-It Ralph is.
I didn't
So
see that
Wreck-It
for-
Ralph
I
is
didn't
the
see that till a
is
couple
the
years
most
later.
recent one on this list outside of the Toy Story sequels. For me, we saw this in theaters.
Yes.
And I was hyped because I was told it was Roger Rabbit with video games.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck yeah. And the movie is Roger Rabbit
Yeah.
with video
Yeah.
games. And Sonic the Hedgehog is in it. And I was very happy about that.
Very good line. Just
Yeah.
because you are a bad guy does not
Doesn't
mean
mean
you
you're
are
a
a
bad
bad guy.
Thanks.
Thanks, Satan. It's pronounced Satine
Or
or,
Satine,
or
yeah.
Satin or something.
Yeah, so basically Ralph is a Donkey Kong type character, and he comes from a game where he's hated.
Fix
so
it,
he,
Felix.
So he goes
Junior.
off and tries to find love in different video game worlds. So in this world, if you're outside of your video game and you die, you're done.
Yeah.
He meets a little girl named Vanellope, and she's in like a Mario Kart type world,
Yeah,
and
it's Candy Rush or
yeah,
something like
yeah,
that.
Sugar Rush.
Sugar Rush,
Yeah.
yeah.
And-
It's the Mario Kart sweet
Yeah.
type game.
So, and then their relationship blossoms, and you get to see the other characters, and there's like a Call of Duty Doom type game
Halo,
where
yeah.
Halo or Gears of War,
Gears
or
of
like
War, yeah.
and they all kind of come together,
Kind
and
of a love letter to video games.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's literally just Roger Rabbit as video games, and I think that's why we like it.
And-
It's just there's so many little in jokes, and
Yeah. It's
I didn't see it till like a couple years ago. It took
Yeah,
me a couple
my
years
house.
to see it, but
Well,
it was
I'm
really
gonna
good.
wreck it.
yeah. and it's one of the most recent movies, kind of these movies, to get me pretty emotional.
Yeah.
When he's falling,
Yep.
I'm not good.
I am bad.
I am bad, and that is good.
Yeah. I will never be good, and that's not bad. There's no one I'd rather be than me. And then he hits and you think he's done because he's died.
Yeah.
It's
a good one.
It's a very, very fun.
Definitely one of like the whole Frozen, Tangled, Big Hero 6, and it's not the best one, but it's my favorite one.
Yeah.
But yeah, Wreck-It Ralph.
Wreck-It Ralph.
Check it out. I don't mind the sequel, but everybody else hates it. But
The sequel was good.
I liked it. So then Tarzan. So Tarzan.
So, all right, I'll rock because this one's higher. Go. I got Tarzan. It's about a kid or this family. They're on a boat and their boat ends up wrecking, and they have to live in this jungle. And these two people have their baby with them. They end up getting killed by a jaguar.
Yep.
And the baby's left alone.
Sabor was the jaguar.
Sabora. That's
Yeah.
I knew
And
it was a cool name.
it's really fucking dark at the beginning.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah.
when fuck, what's her name? The mama
Kala.
Kala, yeah.
Yeah.
When she comes in and there's all the blood marks and stuff
Yeah.
and there's
Yep.
everything.
Pretty.
It's dark.
Heavy.
There's some dark, heavy moments. in
Dark
the movie.
imagery. Yeah, fucking
The ending.
he gets
Yes.
hung.
He gets
the main,
hung, yeah.
The main antagonist gets hung in vines.
Yeah.
Yep.
A lot of really cool animation shots.
Yeah.
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 But anyway, this gorilla finds this baby, kind of battles the jaguar, and then ends up taking it back to the gorilla group and raising it as her own because apparently their previous had passed away. He's looked down upon by like the big silverback gorilla the entire movie. Kerchak, yep.
Is that like, not to interrupt, but this specific story about the raising of Tarzan, is that the traditional Tarzan story?
From what I know.
Because I know Tarzan's like an old story to begin with.
Well, it's public domain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if like that's like the case, the same with the movie.
Right.
So, and then he meets Jane.
Yeah, he meets some travelers that are coming.
Yep.
One of them's a professor, but then the other one just wants to kill.
They're like in the
animals
early 1910s, 1920s.
One of them is the professor, just wants to study, while the other guy's kind of a hunter and wants to kill the gorilla. Clayton.
Is that his name?
Yeah. Yeah.
Clayton.
Yeah.
Clayton.
Like I reiterated earlier, the songs.
Oh, the soundtrack's amazing.
Trash in the Camp is so catchy to me.
Yeah.
Do wop she do. That.
Tantor is the best character.
Tantor's great.
He enjoys a peanut. I enjoy a peanut.
It's a piranha. There are no piranhas in Africa.
Is this water sanitary? That's me. It looks questionable to me. That's fine, honey. But what about bacteria? He's my favorite character in that whole. And then the ending where she's like, let him go. It doesn't matter. He goes, look here, I've had it with you, and he starts yelling it. Oh, I don't own it either,
my
and
God,
I
such a
love that
great
movie. Yeah, I mean everything you said, the story. I mean, for me, the soundtrack. I think that you and I were just the right age when it came out.
Yeah.
It came out in '99.
It's definitely got a rock-esque theme type soundtrack. So I think that's something
Phil
Collins, obviously.
Did you know that the way they got the shots of him skating on the vines, it was from actual skaters?
No shit.
Really?
They recorded them, and they were like kind of figured out how to
pretty cool.
through like rollerblading and other like extreme sports. There's a whole segment on it on the VHS tape.
But
yeah,
they kind of teach him a little bit of English. He falls in love with the girl. The end of the movie, they're going back to their homeland or whatever. The girl decides to hop off the boat and live with Tarzan in the woods.
well, because it turns out that Clayton was going to smuggle the gorillas to sell them and kill them, and the villain dies in a really brutal way, like we said. But overall, I mean, this one's kind of slept on. It's crazy.
I feel like it was like huge when it came out, but then like. After that, it just kind of fizzled out.
Yeah, you remember
the
McDonald's promotion where they had like the little little straws.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a few of those. Yeah.
Do you want to do Lilo and Stitch? We do Lion King, and then we'll all talk about Toy Story.
Yeah. Before we do that, I guess I'll just talk about The Nightmare Before Christmas.
I also want to, out of all the movies, I guess I really want to talk about just for me is probably I want to mention Fantasia.
Yeah.
Point.
Yeah. So I'll do Nightmare, and you can do Fantasia.
Okay.
Goofy movie, real quick too. Shout out to Colin Dobbs. That's Dobbs' favorite
Is
movie.
it?
Yes.
I always see it at work, and I always think about picking it up.
It's just Goof Troop the movie. It's about Max, and he lies to this girl, and he says that he's going to be hanging out with Vanilla Michael Jackson Ice, and it just is a road trip with his dad. And I think for as a kid that had no dad, I think growing up I was just like, oh my god, and I love Goofy.
Oh no, the movie's great.
Yeah.
I love the movie.
The soundtrack's good. It's funny. There is a lot of really funny moments in that movie.
Leaning Tower Cheesa. Wait, you haven't seen it?
I've seen bits and pieces of it.
Really?
I never watched it all the way through, though.
That'll be a watch through.
Yeah. We're gonna do Goofy movie. We're gonna do 30 minutes or less.
Yeah, that's Goofy movies on there. So I mean, I love Goofy movies. So that's all there is.
I think it's at work for
$5.
$5.
Yeah, I put it on in the break room once, and nobody cared, so I had to take it out. And then Nightmare Before Christmas. So
that's one I didn't appreciate and really discovered till a couple years ago myself.
I said this last week that I hadn't talked about it yet. So when I first discovered this movie, nobody cared. Nobody cared about this movie.
Yeah.
I found it at a video store. I rented it. It was actually Village Video. I rented it there, and I watched it on a trip, and I fell in love with it. And my mom would have to special order Nightmare Before Christmas stuff for me for Christmas because of how hard it was to find.
That's so crazy. It was so hard to find.
It was.
Because nowadays,
It's everywhere. And I get that's kind of why I don't talk about it a lot. It is one of my favorite movies of all time, though.
Yeah, I guess by the time I ended up coming around to seeing it, I had been so oversaturated.
Yeah. Not just oversaturated too, but it's something.
I get why people don't like it.
It's also something, even though I didn't discover it till a couple years ago. I feel like it's something you kind of have to watch when you're a little younger.
Right. No,
too.
and there's nothing wrong with it. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
It's just
it's not. It's overhyped.
Yes.
I love the movie, but it's
because
overhyped.
You see Jack Skellington everywhere.
And people who don't even know shit
don't
about
even
it.
get
It's
me
one
going
of those
on
things
that.
like a Batman, Superman.
Yeah.
I wear it because it's trendy. I'm
Yeah.
wearing my Nirvana shirt.
Yeah, it's the same thing. And for me, I love.
I'm not wearing a Nirvana shirt. I don't know why you look
sorry.
bad.
I knew you were wearing a Motley Crue shirt. I'm like, Brandon has a Nirvana shirt? Since when?
Nightmare Before Christmas, I mean, I understand why people don't like it, but the basic concept is it's a fairy tale. It's about Jack Skellington, who's the king of Halloween Town, and he ends up getting bored with being the Pumpkin King, so then he goes and finds Christmas Town. So then he tries to bring Christmas, and he tries to be Santa, and they do this kind of warped Christmas thing with Halloween and Christmas. Tim Burton came up with the idea when he was sitting in a cafe as they were taking down Halloween decorations and putting it back up with Christmas decor. He wrote a poem for it. It's really interesting. Christopher Lee actually narrated the poem on the DVD edition of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
And he gave it to Henry Selick to direct, and the rest is history. I really love the voice work, the songs, everything in it's really good. It hits a lot of themes about feeling isolated and not feeling like you fit in, and feeling more so that's more with Sally, but then with Jack, it's you're getting bored and you want more. And
but then you
we
realize...
can live like Jack and Sally if you want.
And then you have to you realize that you should appreciate what you have, and that's the whole movie. I there's nothing I could say about any of these movies, but in particular this one that hasn't already been said to death. There's a really good Nostalgia Critic video about it where he goes, "Is it worth the hype?" And he talks about it more. I love the movie. Like I said, I don't talk about it because it's beyond beating a dead horse at this point. But
did you see the merch that Ice Nine Kills came out with?
Yeah, you showed me. And
I want the shirt that has the boogeyman on it. It says you can't kill the boogeyman.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that either. But so just good music, and I just love it. So go ahead and talk about Fantasia, Brody.
So I'm probably the only one who has Fantasia on the list. I fell in love with this movie at a very young age. I had it on VHS, and like I said earlier, it took me forever to find a DVD copy.
I can attest to that.
I found it at a Goodwill of all places. It's basically just an animated, just a bunch of different animated sequences put together, and the score is absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
It's basically just like, traditional classical music from like Beethoven,
orchestras.
Bach,
Yeah.
Was the
stuff like that.
Sorcerer's Apprentice, was that an original score before
That was an original score, I think.
Okay.
Because they do use like traditional classical scores like throughout the rest of the movie.
Yeah, we watched it in music class.
But I mean, the animated sequences,
That's my favorite one.
Even aside from like, because everyone talks about the Sorcerer's Apprentice, everyone talks about that segment, but all the stuff that comes before it, just like the visuals that go along with the music, are just absolutely incredible.
Bog Mountain, I think that's what's called, Night on Bog Mountain or something like that. That one's amazing.
That's like one of the best sequences.
That's awesome.
And I think, from what I remember watching Batman the Animated Series, there's a couple scenes in that show where they take pieces of that music and put it in there.
That's awesome.
Specifically the
That's
one where it's
awesome.
like,
That's awesome. I love that. That's such a awesome shot.
Yeah. He's got a name too.
I thought his name was
Bolog.
I thought it was Bolog.
I think it is, but I'm not sure. But yeah, it's just a great visual movie, and it's something I can fall asleep to.
Yeah.
It's a very comforting movie.
I have good memories of that when I was a kid, because it was something my mom could put on, and with all the colors and the music, I could sit there and I could be entertained.
And then the dinosaurs in the beginning too.
Yeah,
so,
I fuck with dinosaurs hard.
Yeah, I can imagine that was probably cool. Sorcerer's Apprentice, to me, I can remember like seeing that in clips and being like, what is that from?
Yeah.
And then catching it on TV one night on Sunday when ABC would do like a Disney movie for the weekend with your family or whatever. Yeah. We watched that one, and seeing that, I was just like, dude, this is awesome. And like, I'm not a Mickey guy at all. Like, I'm just not. Yeah. I've always liked Bugs more, but that one will always have a little special place with me because of that scene. I think it was one of the moments where I was like, I really want to do animation because this is cool as shit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a very well animated film.
Well, it's very fitting for your personality too.
Plus you see like before each segments, you get the introduction from the conductor, and like, saying, or like the guy who hosts it saying like, this piece of music was written by this person.
Like I said, we watched it in music class.
It's going to represent like what's going on in this scene,
So,
but it's a very pleasing movie to watch.
Again, and it's also
it's eye candy. It's an eye candy.
It's
movie.
Also linked to you and your attachment to music in the same way that like Wreck-It Ralph.
I mean,
games.
I love it so much that I bought the soundtrack on CD.
Yeah.
I kind of want it on vinyl. Not gonna lie.
So then we have Lilo and Stitch and Toy Story. So
yeah, we'll do Lilo and Stitch. Me and Brody got to do Lion King, and then we can all talk about Toy Story.
Cool. Well, Lilo and Stitch is on your thing too.
Yeah.
Lilo and Stitch is oftentimes when I say like my favorite Disney movie, I always go to this because a lot of the time people are like, "Oh, Pixar's separate." Okay. Lilo and Stitch. There's actually, I'll edit it in here. There's Christmas footage of me opening this on Christmas Day.
Nice.
Yeah, and being really stoked about it because I hadn't seen it. It's about a little girl that gets picked on all the time and feels really alone, and probably like my favorite way for them to write kid characters that aren't annoying. They're like actual kids.
They're humans. Yeah.
They're humans.
Yeah, she carries around this homemade doll and stuff like that.
Yeah, and like she feels alone, and then you have this alien that comes to Earth and it pretends to be a dog, and these other two aliens that follow
are trying to hunt it down.
And Jumba and Pleakley.
And then who's the big dude?
Mr. Bubbles.
No, that's
Gantu,
the black guy. That's
Captain
Gantu. Yeah.
Gantu's
Mr.
coming.
Bubbles is the government.
Yeah, yeah.
Gantu's the big one. He's trying to come get him. And
so Jumba's the one who created this alien.
And he's like a mad scientist.
Yes, and he created it, and it's apparently illegal throughout the galaxy. So he sends it off. It's on the run, and then he's trying to get it while the alien government is also trying to get it, and they're involving this little girl, and it just
goes into her showing him that he's not a monster.
Yeah,
Yes.
right.
And he's got a heart, and that's the movie.
The big message too also is like
Ohana means family.
well,
The
yeah,
family never gets left behind.
Well, for me, like, it's also like accepting someone as your own.
Yeah,
like, even if they're an outsider,
yes,
and you love them, you can still accept them into like your life or your family.
I got accepting everyone's differences because
Yes.
eventually they move all these aliens in, Jumbo and completely live with them,
Yeah.
and then it's I'm thinking of a way to put it.
Like
I'll interject here and say that for me, it's accepting change.
Yes.
That's what. Okay. Yes. Yeah.
Because it's hard because her parents are gone and she's being raised by her sister, and her sister, it would have been really perfect to have this uppity chick that was working really hard, but no, she struggles to pay the rent, and she's a human being, and they fight all the time like real siblings do.
Yeah, they do scream at each other.
Yeah.
One of the parts that always made me and my sister like die with laughter is when they both scream into the pillow.
Oh yeah.
Get out of my room! I'm not
already in my room. Yeah. Like there's moments like that, and I will say probably the funniest Disney movie. There are like definitely up there because there are some
it's got some funny moments
really
in it.
like I was watching this, and it's like they're in the house and they're just like yelling back and forth at each other, and he's like, he goes, "Little girl," and he's like, "They're everywhere."
Yeah, that and like just they have some little nods to adult jokes, like how Stitch talks in another language and apparently it's all profanity. He's like, "Mama, shake down!" They're like, they're like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, and he's like, "Leave my mother out of this." Yeah, and then like.
And that fat dude who always loses his ice cream.
Yeah, I feel so bad for that guy.
Yeah.
There's the one scene when the entire alien spaceship is sideways and just the wing of the plane takes off a scoop of ice cream.
It's just the wing of the plane.
He stole the speeder. Oh yeah, the red one. And then it's like, and then where I was a kid when he just that's lovely.
That was well timed. You're like,
yo, I ate like 3 plates of ziti last night. Shout out, Steph. So
Steph made some good baked ziti. So when Stitch takes the gun and he's like yelling at the frog with the gun,
he's got it pushed on its head.
Yeah, as a kid that killed me. But yeah, Lilo and Stitch is probably they're beautiful watercolor backgrounds. And Hawaii is such a different location for a Disney movie. I think it works really well.
Also, in the beginning of the movie, why is this fucking like 5-6-year-old girl swimming in the ocean alone?
Right.
It's Hawaii. That's probably why. She was gonna feed Pudge the fish.
And
he couldn't feed him tuna.
Yeah, can't feed him tuna.
Yeah, come on. So yeah, and
is
then
the sequel any good?
I actually really like the sequel.
Lilo and Stitch. I like all the sequels.
Yeah, all the sequels. The show was cool too.
The show was
awesome.
The show was just really like Pokemon and real Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Like
they were out there to collect all these different experiments.
Yeah, it was Pokemon and real Ghostbusters because they had to catch them to save the area.
Yeah,
but like. It was like Pokemon, like Ghostbusters, but in a sense it was like Pokemon because they all had different powers.
Stitch is experiment 626, so there was 625 other ones.
Yeah, and then
627.
627 was the
yeah, and the 625, who's just really good at making sandwiches.
He's my favorite.
I loved him so much.
His name is, I think his name is Ruben.
He's got he's got all the same powers as Stitch, except he just
that sandwich stacking game on Disney.
Yes,
that game was awesome.
He's always making sandwiches. He's my favorite. Ruben, total stand for Ruben.
All right, Brody.
So
you guys go ahead and have your make-out fest about Lion King.
Look, I'm gonna explain this to you. Me and Brody went and saw the which the live action was alright, but it's nothing compared to the original.
I had one of the worst experiences of my life in a movie theater when I saw that movie. Of my life so far. I got kicked in the back of the head.
When me and Brody,
well, it was messy. That's all I'm gonna say. Right. That was messy.
Right.
When me and Brody went and sat down to see this live action Lion King, we cried. We cried when the movie started and and Circle of Life came on.
Yeah.
Me and Brody have loved this movie.
Yeah.
Years and years. We've always sung the sound. We'd go drive back and forth to concerts, listen to the fucking soundtrack.
That's like
over.
That became another tradition.
Yeah.
From coming back from concerts.
Yeah, it's just the music.
It's such a good movie. It's such a well animated movie. It's an amazing story.
Yeah.
Basically,
Hamlet.
basically, if you live under a rock and you don't know what this movie's about, it's basically about this lion pride in Africa, and basically it's about the cub growing up, Simba, to become the king of his pride,
right,
after his father passes away.
He's got a jealous uncle
he's got a jealous uncle who he was next to be in line for king,
before Simba was born.
Simba, obviously, and he just gets really upset about that.
The best character in the movie.
But it's got some. I mean, for me, like I said earlier, it's very rare for a movie to not only have amazing songs, but an amazing musical score as well.
I'll be sure to practice my curtsy.
Don't turn your back on me, Scar.
Oh no,
Mufasa.
it's you shouldn't turn your back on me.
Is that a challenge? But God,
I wouldn't dream of. Me and Brody could probably do this entire movie.
There's so many good lines.
The shallow end of the gene.
And
what are we gonna do with him? He'd make a very handsome fro rug.
Zazu.
And Timon and Pumbaa are the classic buddy duo.
Yeah.
Oh my god, hilarious!
Hey, call me Mr. Pig.
And they obviously, even the second one has its fun. And
the second one's not bad.
No, the only thing that sticks out to me with the second one is I used to cry laughing when I watched it. And in the very beginning, they're watching Kiara, which is Simba's kid.
Yeah.
And Timon and Pumbaa follow her, and then she falls in some water, and Pumbaa dives in, right on top of her. Yeah. And he comes up, and Timon goes, "Pumbaa, let me define babysitting!"
But yeah, it's just a very well-made movie, very beautifully animated.
Shout out to when a friend of ours was starting to date, and then me and Vale just started singing. I can see what's happening.
Yeah, the soundtrack. Circle of Life, Hakuna Matata, I Just Can't Wait to Be King, Be Prepared,
which is still...
That's my favorite song.
Be Prepared, which is still the #1 Disney villain song, in my opinion.
That one's my favorite. Well, what about Imperial March, Brody?
Technically, that's a Disney villain song
now. That's when you think about it, yeah.
But overall, Be Prepared is the best villain Disney song.
Yeah.
And I think it's part of the reason what killed the live-action movie for me, because they cut it short.
Yeah.
And
the way I was talking to my mom about this earlier, the way they don't go in, they don't start off with speaking or anything. It just kind of goes right into it, and I just didn't like that.
Yeah. And it's shorter, and it's different.
Yeah.
Or it's not. It's okay to be different and do whatever.
I know I sound like an old man here, but it's just I don't know.
They didn't want to encourage Nazi propaganda, apparently.
It's my favorite song in the movie, and they cut it short for the live action.
Right. So nothing could be more frustrating.
Yeah.
But Simba, essentially, Scar sets up this plan, kills Mufasa, and then blames Simba
for his death.
It's simple. We killed the king.
So
this time, Daddy isn't here to save you.
So he runs off, ends up meeting Timon and Pumbaa. They teach him, don't give a fuck about shit. They say Hakuna Matata, nothing matters at all.
Oh, they were token.
Oh yeah, it's
just Jay and Silent Bob and Disney.
Yeah. They say just eat bugs and walk and do whatever.
Yeah.
And there's a little time skip period. He's a grown-up lion now, adult lion.
The 90s really, the more I think about this, the 90s really nailed the whole goofy buddy duo.
Yeah.
Beavis and Butthead, Jay and Silent Bob, Timon and Pumbaa, Scooby and Shaggy,
Stewie and Brian.
Stewie and Brian is 99. I mean.
But so they meet, and one of his childhood best friends finds him, and she entices him to come back.
Yeah.
Big battle. He ends up It's a lot of fun lines. Timon comes in when he hula.
Yeah. Dude, what, you want me to dress in drag and do the hula?
Wow.
But one of my favorite memories of The Lion King is still playing King of Pride Rock, the score, in my basement.
Yeah.
Just walking up the stairs.
And I have a video on my Snapchat of us going to a park where there's a lighthouse and a little rock.
Fun fact for you: there was there was a girl I was seeing at the time. We weren't dating, but I was kind of on the fence about, involving this woman in my life, and she was a very nice girl. Things didn't work out, but that night, Brody was climbing up a playground to the Lion King score, and she looked very like, oh, what the fuck?
What did I walk into?
Yeah,
and I was like, that was why it didn't
maybe
work
I gotta
out.
send you the video, and you can put it in at the...
I will.
Yeah,
because it's pretty funny.
It's just a lighthouse, and then you see the song starts playing, and Brody walks out on all fours.
And I would rather that be known then before anything happened, because that's what you're getting into.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Prepared.
Be prepared.
But
yeah, I mean, it's just so many good songs, so many good lines. I mean,
and
what can be said about it?
And I want to say for the record, I do love that movie. I just don't love it like everyone else, and that's okay.
Me and my sister are getting Hakuna Matata tattoos.
I'm sure my brother and my sister will too.
But
my brother and I have Star Wars tattoos. Yeah. So
I guess we'll jump into our big three.
This again could be a podcast in itself, and I think I know both of you love this movie, but I think this is like my time to shine. It is when I was growing up. There was nothing more on the planet I loved more than Toy Story.
Yeah,
there was.
I mean, like I said earlier, it always goes back and forth for number one for me.
There is never
it's like I'll watch Toy Story and I'll be like, oh, that's my favorite Disney movie, and then I'll watch Lion King, and it just goes back and forth. I can never pick one.
It is my favorite movie of all time, and it has been that way since I could talk. My aunt showed me this movie when I was a little kid. I was like 3. And I was obsessed. As soon as it would end, I would rewind it. And then I got the second one at BJ's in Bel Air in Abingdon. And I loved it. I would watch it over and over again. And then I got I saw the third one 3 times in theaters.
You also want to talk about a string of sequels where there hasn't been a bad entry.
Yeah,
every single
all of them are bangers. Completely different stories, completely different ideas, and all knocked out of the park.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm a big toy collector, but even as a kid, it was it was just something I really loved. And so like before I get into the story, the character of Woody.
Story of the toys.
The character of Woody always really resonated with me because it's just a guy that's resistant to change,
snake
but
in your boot.
He really ends up finding that when you open yourself up to change, it could help you embrace better opportunities.
Yeah.
So Woody is Andy's favorite toy.
Yeah.
He's a cowboy doll, and it's Andy's birthday, and for Andy's birthday, he wants nothing more than Buzz Lightyear.
Yep.
Buzz Lightyear!
The world's hottest action figure at the time.
Now the world's coolest toy.
And he gets it, and Buzz doesn't realize that he's a toy. He thinks he's an actual space ranger.
Yes.
Buzz-looking alien!
Where? And the whole thing is just about...
He thinks he's crash-landed from his planet.
So they end up at the neighbor's house, who's like a toy torturer, and you either knew that kid or you were that kid. And it's all about them trying to make sure they make it back to Andy's before they move.
I really hope that... I really hope that toys didn't come to life, because me and Brody used to throw his wrestling dolls as high as we could into the air, and then you ripped off the Miz's head.
Well, kind of.
And flushed it in.
I don't know what was going on. Kind of a side note here, but like one night Brandon and I were up like super fucking late. We were playing with his wrestling figures. This was, God, it had to have been like at least 7 years ago. But
we were still 7 years ago.
Still in our 20s.
Still in our 20s.
It was either 7.
No, it was longer than that because we were in high school. I wasn't living at my dad's.
It had to have been like 10 years ago then at least.
Yeah.
10 or 11 years ago.
Yeah.
But
we were still 16.
We were playing with his figures. And, like, I ripped off the Miz's head and watched it. And like for some reason, watching his head go down the toilet, like
we were crying,
losing it, like laughing so hard.
Shit, me and Seth were 16 playing with Star Wars toys. Yeah.
They weren't ours.
Yeah.
I remember I went over there after that because I would always look at your wrestling figures, and I noticed the Miz was missing his head. The one time I went over there, you had I think it was Jack Swagger. I have a picture of it. Is Jack Swagger's head on top of a Hornswoggle figure? So it's just his little short. It's really funny.
My Hillbilly Jim figure.
Your Hillbilly Jim, yeah. No, I mean, if that's the case, I mean, I'm in good shape. My toys are very well taken
Unless
care
they
of.
hate you.
Yeah, I mean, they might hate me, but yeah. So I just don't know what it was with this movie. It just really resonated with me, and it really hit home for me. And
it's a well-written movie, too.
It's a perfectly written movie. It went through development hell.
Yes.
It was a huge gamble and completely revolutionized the business. There aren't many movies that I consider to be perfect.
That's Pixar's first movie, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Pixar is this is a damn near perfect movie for me, if not perfect. I don't have a single flaw. The thing that pisses me off about the first one is everyone's like, "Ugh, the people don't look good in it," and I'm like, it's the first CG animated movie.
Yeah, it came out in 1995.
For fuck's sake, give it a break. But nobody says that about Snow White.
Nope.
So I think that this movie completely revolutionized the business. I think it was very important. It is my favorite movie of all time that will never change. I have always loved this movie, and I always will. The second one is about that. So Woody breaks, and he feels like he's not good enough for Andy anymore.
Play
With you anymore.
And he's really self-conscious of it.
Shout out to my homie Wheezy. Man.
Wheezy's the best. He still hear me. Besides, it just aggravates my condition.
It's not supposed to be funny, but it is.
What's the point in prolonging the inevitable? We're all just one stitch away from here to there.
Yard sale. Yard sale.
A lot of really good voice work in this movie. A lot of really good music.
So I'm sorry.
No.
So Daniel at work started doing like because he's got asthma.
Oh, I heard you guys doing that, and I thought somebody was choking.
Dude, Daniel has like this he's got asthma, but he started doing this like whooping cough noise, and now he does it just to fuck with me because he knows I'm gonna fucking cry
So I'm
laughing.
in the bathroom and I hear Brody and Daniel talking, and I just hear Daniel start and like I'm worried, and I run out and I'm like, oh my god, is everything okay? And Brody's just laughing. I'm worried fucking Daniel's choking or something, and Brody's just like
But Daniel does it just to mess with me.
Yeah.
And then the third one is about Andy going to college and again accepting change, and
they end up at a daycare.
And basically it becomes a jailhouse movie.
Yeah.
Doesn't, what's the bear's name?
Doc
Lotso.
McStuffin. Oh.
Isn't that Kelsey Grammer?
Yeah, no, it's Ned Beatty.
Ned Beatty.
Kelsey
okay.
Grammer was a prospector.
Right. Okay. Yep.
And and then I can't really get into too much without spoiling it for those of you who haven't seen it. And then the fourth one is about them living. Again, I can't really even say too much without spoiling the third one.
Yeah.
The third and fourth one hit
Big change. Yeah.
The third and fourth one
Big
hit
change.
Look,
really hard.
These movies grew with us.
Yeah.
The first two are very fun, like
Childhood
movies.
Yeah.
The third and fourth one are still very fun, but they have very real themes behind them. Very
There's
real.
that scene in the fourth one that always hits me when they're walking with Forky, and Forky he says something about Andy, and Forky just looks up at him and he's like, "Who's Andy?"
Yeah.
And he just kind of like stops for a second. It's like,
yeah.
There's so many good lines in the first one. I mean, Mr. Lightbeer, getting kind of tense, aren't you?
Mr. Lightyear.
I am Mrs. Nesbit.
Yeah, that
Don't
was.
you get it?
I rewatched
You
the
see
first
that?
one, and which I really didn't have to, but like I wanted to, and that part, the part where they're playing a Battleship.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, not the year. Give me.
I'm a 3 out of 5.
If you look at their Battleship where they're playing it, the reason that he's losing is because all of his ships are right next to each other. So all the pegs are on top of all the, like, they're all in one little spot.
Yeah.
And if you look on the board in front of him, all the pegs are literally shaped. All you would have to do, it's just left where his ships are. Like, it's little touches like that that really make that movie just timeless. Like,
Buzz, would you get up here and give me a hand? That's very funny.
This is serious. Hey, Woody, where'd you go? He's lying. Buzz ain't there. I mean, the cast. Let me go through this cast. Tim Allen, Tom Hanks, Annie Potts, Don Rickles, Wallace Shawn, John Ratzenberg. Give it time.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, and then the one thing I will say also about 4, because I know I can't talk too much about it, 4, the animation is amazing in that.
Oh, beautiful! And some of them shots in the antique store and stuff.
It's specifically in the pinball machine. So this came out after Disney bought Star Wars, obviously, and in it they have Star Wars guys in the pinball machine, and they're meant to look like the Kenner Star Wars guys, and they actually look like them.
Yeah.
And it's Obi-Wan, and he's chopping off that guy's arm.
Oh,
like
really?
in the cantina.
Oh,
It's really.
I didn't notice that.
You blink and you'll miss it.
Yeah.
And I noticed it. Well, and then the guy that's inside the mailbox, the pinball machine thing, Tinny, that was their first short film called Tin Toy.
Yeah.
Which was the original idea for Toy Story.
Yep.
Was going to be about this tin toy named Tinny, who gets left at a rest stop and gets thrown in the back of this garbage guy's truck, where he meets a ventriloquist doll named Woody. And the way that it would end was that they end up at a daycare center, which is like heaven for toys because they're never going to stop being played with.
Yeah.
So you can see where a lot of those ideas were implemented into the trilogy.
Into all
into all of them. And like Woody originally was a ventriloquist dummy, and Bud Lucky, who was a character designer, said, "What if you made him a cowboy?" And then John Lasseter was like, "So you'll have the frontier of the West and the frontier of space." He was like, "That's a perfect combination," and that's how you got it. So just a lot of really good hands in the pot to really make what was a perfect stew of an animated movie. And like, I'm biased. I am 100% biased. But Pixar, this made Pixar my favorite animation studio, and I mean, I could go all day.
Yeah.
I do have a funny story about
Go ahead.
So me and my sister had a computer game for Toy Story. It was I think it was like a point and click game.
Yeah, it's the point and click storytelling one.
Yeah. Well, anyway, when you get to the part where they're at the rest stop,
they can fight.
Yeah. Well, there's like something you can click to like make them distracted. There's one where you'll click something and a truck goes by and like makes Woody all flop around. And for some reason, whenever me and my sister played that game and the truck goes by, because you hear the for some reason that mixed with like Woody just like flailing his arms around. For some reason, like me and my sister just laughed so hard at that.
The animation in the games is pretty funny.
Oh yeah.
So
you want to talk about one of the hardest games to play? Is the Toy Story game? What is it on?
It's
on Super Nintendo.
It's on Game Boy, Super Nintendo, Sega
Nintendo
Game Gear, I believe.
Man.
Sega
It's a fun
Genesis.
game, but God, it's hard.
Yeah, it is. I have it on the Genesis, and I have it on.
Have you beaten it at all?
I beat the one on the Game Boy. Crazy enough.
Yeah.
The one on the Super Nintendo. I think I beat the one on the Super Nintendo, but the Sega Genesis one in particular was a lot harder.
Yeah.
And like there's like a mission where like you have to collect batteries with RC, and it's like a fucking bitch to do it. And somehow I beat the Game Boy one, which was pretty fucking dated.
Yeah.
Watch Caddy's review on all those if you guys want a good little Pixar thing. So
do you want to do our picks while you pull up the comments?
Yeah, we'll do the Facebook one.
Whoops.
Alright,
my picks for this week, I'm watching Dave.
Yeah,
the Little Dicky show. They'll turn me into that. And I was gonna say something else. I can't remember.
I listened to some Scowl the other day.
Yeah?
They're pretty good.
Yeah, I like them. I like them a lot. That's pretty much.
Yeah.
Just been watching Dave and.
Show's fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
if
I really
you don't
like
watch it, it's
a lot of fun.
one of the funniest shows out there, and it's got a lot of heart when you get through it.
Yeah.
Lots of heart. Lots of heart.
I really enjoy it. Playing Fortnite because of the turtles.
Fork knife.
I don't want to unlock the freaking Peter Griffin skin.
Fortnite. What about building day?
So, anyways.
Yeah. I guess
This is my last time on the podcast, everyone. Goodbye.
So related, Mr. McAdams by Lil Dicky. I've been bumping that. It's a song came out. He dedicated it to Rachel McAdams. He's basically saying in the song that if she'll give him a chance, that he would change his last name for her. And it's really funny. And he announced the album coming out soon, so that'll be good. And then the other music thing I got is Sum 41's Rise Up. They released that. It's a fucking banger.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the heaviest songs they've ever released.
And it's a cool concept they're doing for their final album. I think it's called Heaven and Hell.
Double album.
Where it's like the first part of it is like pop punk, and then the second part is all their metal stuff.
Their threat, yep.
Which is cool.
Black Sabbath already did that. Thank you.
Black Sabbath did pop punk?
Heaven and Hell.
Oh. I was about to say, when did Black Sabbath do pop punk?
I would be okay with that.
Yeah, but
what's my age again?
But who could do it better, Ozzy or Dio?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments below. Who do you think would be a better pop punk frontman?
But yeah, honestly,
Ozzy on a fucking skateboard.
Some 41's wrapping it up by releasing some of the heaviest bangers that they've released in a long time. It's absolutely phenomenal. I know Dan's creaming his pants right now. Yeah,
Dan, drop a sub for that.
I'm definitely gonna catch them one more time before they dip
I would like
out.
to see them.
I want to. They'll be at a festival
I
or
grew
something,
up
but I'm
listening
catching.
to
I
those
want to
guys,
catch them.
So.
Rod.
But my pick. I mean, I've just been watching Christmas movies all.
Yeah, that's
week, and
kinda
probably what it's going to be for the rest of the week.
Yeah.
I did watch Violent Night the other day.
Oh, really? I've been wanting to rewatch
I watched that,
might
and
be
I
good.
watched Santa's Sleigh just for the fuck of it because I was bored in the middle of the night.
I watched. I started watching Christmas Story this morning.
No, I'll tell you what I did. Force Awakens.
Okay,
I unintentionally on the anniversary of Force Awakens watched Force Awakens because I've been wanting to watch it. And I gotta say, I still love it.
Oh yeah.
8 years later, still love it.
God, it hasn't been 8 years.
It's been
since we did
8
that?
years since we went to the marathon.
Fuck.
I know.
God damn.
So here's the Facebook post. Tori said, The Great Mouse Detective and Sword in the Stone. I watched them until the tapes wore out. And Madison said, I was just about to say The Great Mouse Detective. Apparently The Great Mouse Detective has a huge following. I saw it once. I like it. I did not know.
think I ever saw it.
Doug said Mulan in a GIF. Love me some Mulan.
Never got into that.
Ryan said he should have been on for this one, and then he said he loves Cars 2.
That's a meme.
The first Cars I was thinking about putting as an honorable mention.
1 and 3 are great.
Gabe said Toy Story is forever amazing, but my favorites have always been Up and Wall-E.
Up's a good one.
Oh yeah, Eric loves Wall-E.
I love Up and Wall-E both.
movie's good.
My aunt Shy said Beauty and the Beast OG is my favorite, and of course I remember the first 3 Toy Stories. Remember when I took you and Jake to the double feature, and remember we found RC at a thrift store. It was a thrift store, and Emperor's New Groove.
Little Emperor's New Groove's a good one.
Yes.
Little fun fact about Beauty and the Beast, if y'all didn't know. So if y'all are horror fans, the actor who voices Maurice is the same actor who played Enos the truck driver in the first Friday the 13th.
Really?
Yep.
I did not know that.
Yep. If you watch Friday the 13th and you hear him talk, you can kind of hear Maurice's voice in it.
That's the candle, right?
No. Belle's grandfather.
Oh, okay. I've only seen that movie a handful of times.
Yeah.
It's good, though. I bet you, I know for a fact my aunt probably knows.
Yeah.
Rye said Meet the Robinsons for Disney, Bugs Life for Pixar.
Yeah.
I remember seeing commercials for Meet the Robinsons with the T-Rex.
Oh my god, everybody quoted that. I remember a kid getting yelled at in school for saying it too much. Rye said if you guys could meet any, get a photo op with any character at a Disney park, who would it be? I'm gonna go with some Star Wars guys.
Yeah.
I want to go do Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was cool as shit.
You went to that?
You did Galaxy's Edge?
Yeah.
Did you do that?
I didn't think that was open when you were down
No, I
there.
was just fucking
I
with
knew
you.
you were gonna say that.
No, they did have a bunch of Star Wars shit though. They had
I know that they
had a stage when you walked in one of the Star Wars sections, and there was just like lightsaber battles and shit going on.
Nice.
Yeah,
I have a
eat
true-
my ass for going to Krusty Burger.
Yeah. Oh my god, I love that burger. So good.
You
I've
sent
had
me
it
a
twice.
picture of that. You pissed me. God, that pissed me off.
As far as like, if we're not counting Star Wars, traditional, probably Buzz and Woody.
That would be fun. I want to go to Disney so bad.
It's so fucking expensive
I know.
nowadays, man.
When parents were talking about it, your dad said, Tracy said, The Great Mouse Detective, which is so crazy how big that movie is. And he said Finding Nemo.
Yep. Like,
Finding Nemo.
knew that shit.
And now
Finding Nemo almost got put on my honorable mention.
so Steph is probably like the Disney person I know.
The Disney freak.
So, she said, I will save my thesis for a different time, but my picks: pre-Renaissance, Lady and the Tramp, the first original story, and Peggy Lee basically carries the soundtrack. Post-Renaissance, Beauty and the Beast, visually beautiful, great cast, and a legendary Alan Menken
Damn,
and
she's
Howard
like a
Ashman
historian,
soundtrack.
almost.
Oh, that's. Pixar, Ratatouille. Always come back to this one in a
Ratatouille's a good
food-centric
one.
story. Is a winner for me. Then she says, is there anything on your list that either you wish got a sequel or a shitty one? I wish they would have continued doing the Chronicles of Hadrian, the book series Black Cauldron was based on, and the sequel to The Fox and the Hound was trash.
Oh my god, Fox and the Hound was almost on my list. I love that movie so much. It was the first movie that made me fucking cry.
I can't watch that movie because of that.
Fun fact for you, Tim Burton was in the animation department as an intern on that. Yeah, he said
that movie
he
is
hated
fucking
it.
sad.
I didn't like it when I was a kid. I think probably because of that, and then I watched it again because Nick really loves that movie.
Yeah.
We watched it again, and
It's a good movie. It's definitely sad. But Lady and the Tramp's underrated too.
I like Lady and the Tramp. If there anything I wish got a sequel or a shitty one, I wish Nightmare Before Christmas would have gotten a sequel at some point.
I wish we would have gotten a correct Tarzan sequel.
A good
Tarzan
sequel.
Tarzan and Jane, but it was that wasn't. I don't even consider that.
Apparently, there's like a Peter Pan sequel where it deals with them dealing with the aftermath of the World War II or something like that. Because I don't know.
Did Alice in Wonderland get a sequel? Like an animated?
No. Well.
We don't talk about those.
No, it's one that lends itself to it. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that it's. I remember liking Little Mermaid 2 when I was a kid.
That's really random.
I think I got my copy of it from
might have been from me.
Yeah, from him. I think it's over there. And Gabe said I completely forgot about one of my favorites, and that one I feel like doesn't get enough respect is Meet the Robinsons. So apparently, Meet the Robinsons and the Great Mouse Detective
Never
are.
seen Meet the Robinsons.
I've never seen
Meet
either.
the Robinsons is good, and Great Mouse Detective I saw when I was a kid, and I remember I watched it with Daz once, and I was like, "This is good." I just didn't understand that it had this big of a following. So then, future podcast news. This week we are not going to be doing one for Christmas Eve. However, we are trying to squeeze in a stream of a video game, and that'll hopefully be Saturday. But we all get together on Christmas Eve.
Saturday. Yeah, I won't. I'll be.
Sunday.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. So Sunday, and then we will be doing one on New Year's. Our plan for New Year's, I would say, is going to be a year wrap up.
Yeah.
Just stuff we've really enjoyed this year.
Let's go through the year.
Yeah, we'll just go through some movies and stuff we've enjoyed over the year. Movies, wrestling, just all around stuff. Probably try and have Eric on for that one.
That'd be a good idea.
But then the first of the year, we definitely will have Eric on. The first podcast of the year is going to be about, I think
What are we doing?
that will be superhero guilty pleasures.
Yeah.
So superhero movies we don't think are good movies, but guilty pleasures nonetheless.
I have a couple.
So other than that, I hope you guys have a very happy holiday.
Gang.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
And be safe.
Happy
and
birthmas.
Happy
I
birthmas.
shit myself.
There you go. Goodbye.